Hello everyone, Chris Wilkinson from AwesomeCGG in Londonderry, New Hampshire, coming at you guys with a brand new series on how to play. We're going to be having explanations, gameplay videos, how to build a deck, any kind of tutorial that you might need in order to get into the Pokemon trading card game. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about today is the most basic thing of them all. What are the actual rules? You've cracked your packs, you've pulled your ultra rares, and now it's time to learn what do they actually do? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing I want to talk about in terms of the game is really the concept. What are we trying to do? So just like the Pokemon video game, you are allowed to bring 6 Pokemon with you to the battle, and so is your opponent. These Pokemon are represented in the trading card game as prize cards. You take a prize card by knocking out your opponent's Pokemon, and the first player to take all 6 of their prize cards wins the game. So how do we actually do that? Well, that's what we're going to get into today. The first thing I want to talk about are the game zones, and these are going to be important later, but for now I just want to get you familiar with them and what they actually do. So you have your active spot right here at the front. The active position is where the Pokemon who is attacking and is being attacked is placed. So this is your primary Pokemon and is, like I said, going to be attacking and taking damage from your opponent's attacks. Here you have the bench. This is effectively where Pokemon are waiting to attack. And, you know, the different cards will refer to the active spot or the bench spot, and it's just important to know that these are what those two things mean. Next, you have a space for your deck. That's where your deck goes. You have a deck of 60 cards in every game, and your discard pile. This is where cards go after they've been played, or Pokemon go alongside any cards that may be attached to them after they have been knocked out. And finally, you have your prize card zone. You place your prize cards in the prize card zone at the setup of the game, which we will get into later. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Pokemon, obviously. So I'm just going to give you the basic anatomy of a card. So here, I dropped it. So here we have Scorbunny. So the first thing that you want to know about Pokemon is in the top right corner, you have its HP. The HP is the amount of damage that a Pokemon can take before it gets knocked out. In the middle here, you have the Pokemon's attacks. On the left side, you have the energy cost, which are made of colored and colorless symbols. So colored symbols have to be paid with the energy of that type. So Ember would take 1 fire energy. However, if you had a colorless attack, a colorless energy could be fulfilled by any energy at all. So you can have multiple types in the same deck. On the right side, you have the amount of damage that the attack does, and then there's text explaining any additional effects. So Ember does 30 damage. If Scorbunny were to attack another Scorbunny, that would be 60. Your opponent's Scorbunny would be knocked out, and then you would take a prize card. If you can do that 6 times, you win the game. The next important thing to talk about on Pokemon is their weakness. So if you look in the bottom left corner, as you know, certain types of Pokemon are weak to other types of Pokemon. Scorbunny is a fire-type Pokemon and is weak to water. So on the bottom left, it denotes that it takes double damage from water Pokemon. And there's all types of different weaknesses, and they will tell you which Pokemon is weak to what. In the middle, there's resistance. Not all Pokemon have resistance, but it is something that comes up. Resistance is the opposite of weakness, where some types are stronger against others, and they take less damage because of it. And finally, in the bottom right corner, you have the retreat cost. The retreat cost is the cost you have to pay to move a Pokemon from the active spot to the bench. And you have to pay that much energy equivalent to the retreat cost of any kind. That's why it's colorless. So if you wanted your Scorbunny to be switched with something on your bench, then you would have to discard 1 energy of any kind from it. The last and arguably most important part of Pokemon is their evolutions. That's why we have Raboot, and we also have Cinderace here. So Pokemon can evolve once per turn, and they can only evolve after that Pokemon has been on the field for a full turn, unless otherwise stated. And in the top left corner, it will tell you if a Pokemon is a basic, meaning like Scorbunny, a stage 1, or a stage 2. And it will tell you what Pokemon that the highest evolution came from, so that way there's no confusion. So Raboot is a stage 1 Pokemon and comes from Scorbunny. So once your Scorbunny has been on the field for a turn, then you can place Raboot down, and the same thing goes for Cinderace. So Pokemon are going to be the core of your deck. They attack every turn, and they are what you're going to be taking your prizes with. You begin the game with a Pokemon in your active spot, and then during your turn, you can place a basic Pokemon from your hand onto the bench, and that is how you put more Pokemon into play. The next kind of cards we're going to be talking about are trainer cards. And there are 3 kinds of trainer cards, almost 4, but we'll get into that. The first kind are supporter cards. So supporter cards look like this. They have a red outline and they say supporter on them. So supporters are cards that give you a very powerful effect, but you can only play them once per turn. They do all kinds of different things. They draw you cards, they search for cards, they can switch your opponent's Pokemon, they can do all kinds of things, and you can only play 1 per turn, so that is important to note. The next are item cards. Item cards, they look like this, and there are 2 different kinds, so I'm going to put them down in front of you, right, like this. Item cards can function like supporters, where they can give you an effect, which is usually a little bit less powerful. Evolution and Sense can search your deck for things. There are things like Pokeball, which search for Pokemon, a whole bunch of different effects. You can play as many trainer cards as you like during your turn, so you want to put a lot of them in your deck. And also there are tool cards. Just like how Pokemon can hold items in the game, they can also hold tools while they're on the battlefield. That's where Air Balloon comes in. So Air Balloon can be attached to a Pokemon, and it gives it 2 less retreat cost, so it can move freely about the field. And like I said, you can play as many trainers as you like during your turn, and decks are often made up of lots of item cards. And finally, you have stadium cards. Stadium cards occupy a spot in the battlefield, usually in the middle between both players. And think of stadium cards as where the Pokemon battle is taking place. Where they are, there might be certain effects in the environment that allow you to do things, and that's represented through the card effects. You can only play 1 stadium card per turn, and if your opponent plays a stadium card while you have a stadium card in play, or vice versa, the new stadium stays, and the one that was there before you discard. You cannot play a stadium card from your hand if it is the stadium card that is already in play. So if you and your opponent play the same kind of stadium card, and they put theirs down first, well, you're out of luck until a different stadium gets put into play. And those are the trainer cards. Lastly, we have energy cards. Now, energies, as I mentioned earlier, are the fuel for your Pokemon to attack. There are 2 kinds of basic energies. Cut that, John. Now, lastly, we have energy cards. Energy cards are what you can use to make your Pokemon attack, and they are, some of the most important cards in your deck. Now, there are 2 different kinds of energies. The first is basic energy, which look like this. You can play as many basic energy cards in your deck as you like, and you can attach 1 energy from your hand to a Pokemon per turn. Decks are made up of energy, and it's your main way of attacking, so they're very important. And there are also special energy cards, such as this heat energy. Special energy cards, you can only play 4 of in your deck, just like every other card, except for basic energy, and they provide an additional effect to a Pokemon that it is attached to. So heat energy, for example, if it's attached to a fire Pokemon, that fire Pokemon gets 20 more HP. So, lots of different kinds of special energies, and basic energies that allow you to incorporate different kinds of Pokemon into your deck, and that is energy. So now that you know all the card types, there are a couple of miscellaneous pieces of information that I would like to take the time to explain. The first thing are special conditions. So just like in the video game, Pokemon can be burned, poisoned, paralyzed, all different kinds of effects. And there are attacks and trainer cards which can affect Pokemon with special conditions. For a full list of special conditions, we'll be doing an advanced rules video, and also we will have them in the video's description. If I went into all the effects now, it would just be very long-winded. But just know that Pokemon can be affected, and each individual special condition has its own effect on Pokemon. And lastly are Pokemon abilities. So just like Cinccino, we have here, Cinccino's ability says once during your turn, you can discard a card from your hand and then draw 2 cards. Now, there are 2 different kinds of abilities. There are abilities that are always active, or passive abilities, which, are kind of just like a state of being that the Pokemon occupies, or there are activated abilities. And activated abilities are, once during your turn, as many times as you like during your turn, things that you have to take the initiative to activate as an ability. Those are the 2. Many Pokemon have abilities, and they're another part of gameplay. You can use them during your turn as many times as the ability says you can use them. Okay, so now that you know all the cards and everything that there is to know, it's time for how to set up a game. So a game begins by shuffling your deck. Pokemon card decks are exactly 60 cards, no more, no less. So and to decide who goes first, you and your opponent will flip a coin. The winner gets to choose if they would like to go first or second. So we will just pretend that I have an opponent here and I have won the coin flip. So I'm going to take my deck, which I shuffled, and I'm going to place it here. And the game begins by drawing 7 cards. So I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I didn't get a basic, so John, you're going to have to cut that. You know what? I probably should have just rigged it, so that way I get a basic Pokemon. That would probably be smart, because they're not going to know. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is what my hand looks like, and I do have a basic Pokemon. I have multiple, as a matter of fact. So to start the game, I can put any Pokemon that I want on the field as long as they're basic. So I'm going to put this one as my active, and these ones are going to start on the bench. After that, I'm going to take 6 cards from my deck and put them out as my prizes. These are what I'm going to try and take in order to win the game. Now, my opponent and I'm going first. One of the rules on the first turn of the game is you are not allowed to play supporter cards and you are not allowed to attack. So the game would start, I would flip over all of my Pokemon, and then I would be ready to play, and I am set up. That gets us into turn phases. So a Pokemon turn functions in a very simple way. The first thing that you do is draw a card. That's always how you start your turn. The last thing that you do is attack. And in between those 2 actions, you can do anything as long as you have not done it already that turn. You can play item cards, you can play supporter cards, you can attach energies, you can evolve your Pokemon, you can use abilities, you can do anything in between your draw and your attack. But you have to remember, the first thing you do is draw, and the last thing that you do is attack. And that's pretty much it. The players take turns, drawing, attaching, evolving, attacking, and whoever can take their prize cards first wins. Additionally, nope, you have to cut that one too. Additionally, when your opponent takes a knockout, you take your Pokemon and you place it into your discard pile. Then you take a Pokemon from your bench and promote it to your active spot before you draw your card for turn. That way, there's no mistake about which Pokemon. As soon as your Pokemon gets knocked out, you promote a new one and then you draw for your turn. So. And that's it. The game is now Sorry, John. And that's it. Now you know all the rules that there are to know, somewhat, and you're ready to play. So if you want to pick up a deck, you can come into AwesomeCGG in Londonderry, New Hampshire, and you can get pre-made decks. Or if you are looking for a guide on how to make your own, we'll be releasing one of those guides soon. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.